Hey guys, so today Apple has officially released iOS 26 Developer Beta 1, and wow, there is so much to talk about. This is a major overhaul coming to the iPhone's operating system. To be honest, I've been playing around with iOS 26 for the past, I don't know, 30 to 40 minutes, and I have iOS 18 running on this device here on the right and iOS 26 Beta 1 running on this device here on the left. From animations to design, the new liquid design is now confirmed. The new liquid glass design is here for iOS 26. And wow, I have a lot of thoughts. And obviously, this is beta 1. Not every feature that Apple talked about today is available on day 1 as per usual. Today, developer beta 1 was made available for all platforms. So Apple did rename the software. So keep in mind, no longer will they use the version number, but rather the year which in the software will be active for the most part. So obviously, iOS 26 will become available in late September of 2025. So it will be serving Apple products for the majority of the year of 2026. Therefore, the name iOS 26. So iOS 18 on the right using the version number, and iOS 26 moving forward using the year for the software. So iOS 26, iPadOS 26, watchOS 26, macOS 26, visionOS 26, all the updates have been made available today to registered developers in form of beta 1. And again, there's just so much to talk about, guys. Now, for those of you wondering, this software does support every iPhone currently running iOS 18 except the iPhone XR and the iPhone XS. So all devices running iOS 18 except the iPhone XR and iPhone XS can update to iOS 26 Developer Beta 1. So yeah, Apple did drop support for those devices. Now let's start with the home screen and the lock screen. So let's talk about the lock screen. As I mentioned, there's just so much to talk about here. So I'm going to be using iOS 18 here on the right just for reference. So here it is, iOS 26 versus iOS 18. And you see here, if we go under the customize options, looks pretty similar so far. But if we tap into customize, this is where things start to change. You see here that we have several options. Obviously, the new design, which we'll get to as we continue to talk about the OS here. For starters, you can tap on the clock here, and now you have the glass and solid options available, which is obviously something not available in iOS 18. And you can choose the width of the font just like so, and you can also go ahead and make the font larger. It's just like that. So you can go ahead and pull down on the font just like so and increase the height, I guess you can say, of the font just like that. Something obviously not possible here in iOS 18. Obviously, you can add widgets just like you normally would, and you also have these two additional options not available within iOS 18. One is for the depth option, and one is for the light and dark mode options, which is now available within the lock screen. Now, if we tap here on the clock once again, you see here that if we switch here to solid, then we go back to the standard iOS look that we're used to with iOS 18. But again, you can choose that glass, that liquid glass design here within iOS 26. So let's go here into adding a new wallpaper, and right away you notice that the UI is different. So take a look here. We have the new icons and the new elements. Everything is sort of brought to life with iOS 26. You see there for the photo shuffle, it is shuffling through the icons here. We have the emojis, even the weather. I don't know if you guys can tell, but the weather right there is active, is animated as well. If we scroll down, we do have the new wallpaper for iOS 26. So right there is the new wallpaper, which I'm currently using here. And of course, once you set the wallpaper on the lock screen, there's a lot more to talk about in terms of like animations and live activities and things of that nature. So for example, if we go into music here, we'll talk about the music app here in just a few seconds. I just want to show you the new full screen live animations here for the lock screen. So if I tap here on the album, you see there we go full screen with the full screen animation for the lock screen here on iOS 26. And you see there the icons and the elements, everything very glassy like, of course, as the name implies. Apple named this the new liquid glass design available for iPhone. And you see here, it looks very, very nice. You have the time and the date here on the top. Obviously, you have your music controls here. You have your volume controls as well. Right there, when we play here, we tap here on the AirPlay, you see that the menu is also different here as well. So you can see here that the menus are different. You can tap on show more. A lot happening with this software update. This is one of the biggest overhauls I've seen to the iPhone since iOS iOS 7, and even Apple mentions that themselves. So let's go ahead and talk about the control center, which is something that also caught me off guard as well. Now, this is beta 1, so one thing to keep in mind is that with beta 1, there's a lot that can change before the official release, but take a look at control center here on the right for iOS 18, and take a look at control center here on the left with iOS 26. You can still see the background there. You can see your wallpaper, your icons, and hopefully Apple will add a little bit of gradient, or perhaps, I don't know, something that will cover up a little bit of the background, because it can get confusing sometimes when looking through this glass here on iOS 26 when you're messing around with Control Center here. So you can resize your icons here within Control Center just like you normally would. As you see right here, the drawer looks basically the same here. What's actually changing here is the way the animations work. So for example, here, if I, go ahead and press on these animations right here, you see that things look a little bit different when you try to press on certain icons, and the elements just behave a little bit different and so forth. So if we swipe through, you see that the actual Control Center toggles look a little bit different as well. So, I think I like it. I'm not sure just yet, but yeah, definitely something new here with iOS 26. I'm really trying to get used to it right now. Again, beta 1, you see all these icons and all these different elements available here. Obviously, you can go ahead and activate any of these toggles. You can go within the sub menus here as well, which is a little bit different than previous versions of iOS. So for example, if I long press on Wi-Fi, you see the menus are a little bit different there. Same thing for Bluetooth and so forth. And this also looks the same when you long press on home screen icons, by the way. So if you long press here, you see that the elements and the animations are a little bit different as well. So now let's talk about the home screen icons and customization, because there's a lot happening here as well. Basically, every icon has been redesigned here in iOS 26. You see the emails icon. I'm not sure if I love that email icon. It's a little bit different. We have also FaceTime icon, which is different. The weather, as I mentioned, basically every icon. The biggest redesign, in my opinion, has been the camera. Take a look at the camera icon, iOS 18, iOS 26, as well as the photos icon. The settings icon, I don't really like. Hopefully that will change in future updates. We also have the image playground. The playground application icon has been changed here as well within iOS 26, and we have different menus here as well. We'll cover that here in just a couple of seconds. And again, there's just so much happening here. So if we long press on the home screen, we have the ability to edit as you normally would, but we have one additional option in iOS 26. You can now edit the wallpaper directly from your home screen, just like so. You can add and remove the blur just like that. And of course, you can also go back here into the edit options, and you can further customize your device in iOS 26 with a brand new customizing option you see right here, or a new menu as well. You see right here, we have the default, we have dark, we have clear, which is the new option, and tinted. So if we go to default, that's light. Dark, obviously that would be dark mode, and this is the new option here. We have the clear. So this one you can go with light or dark mode, as you can see right there, or automatic. So it switches depending on the time of day, which is something not available within iOS 18. You see here, this is the new clear look for the liquid glass designed for iOS 26. If we tap here, we can make the icons a little bit larger or smaller. And again, you have the tinted options available with all your other options previously available. And when you go ahead and switch between these different modes and options, the animations and everything feels so much different. Even when you go back to the home screen. So if we go to the cover page or cover sheet here and go back to the home screen, you see there the animations of the icons coming right back into the home screen. Just looks a little bit different. If we go under the customizing options here, you have your widgets as per usual with the brand new design with the liquid glass design all over the place of the software right now. So now let's talk about the new camera application. So we have a new camera app with new UI. You see here on the bottom of the screen, you have up front the video and photo section, which is the two options you probably use the most. You also have your photos right here on the left, and of course you also have the front and rear facing camera options right here. On the top right, you have different options to choose from here from resolution. I love the way the menus pop into place. You also have your flash and additional options here that if you press that button, you see they populate on the bottom of the screen to the flash, from exposure to the action options. So you have different menus and sub menus between different actions here, which is really cool. I really love the new redesigned camera application. Now under the photos option, you also have these new pop-up menus that you see here, from live to timers and different styles that you can choose from. Same thing here with resolution and options available to you. Really love what Apple is doing here with the new redesign to the camera application. I really love it. And now if we go into the Photos application, I know this one was controversial with iOS 18. With iOS 26, you see here we have the library option. So if you choose there, you can swipe between both options, and you see the glass sort of floating there on the menu. You see that? Really cool. And then right here you have your options to see your entire by month, a year, or all, and things like that. You also have your collection options, and you have the search. Obviously, if you tap on the search, you can search anything in the Photos application. You have your menus on the top here for sorting, just like you did previously with additional options and new menus and new options available there to you. I really like what Apple is doing this time around with the Photos application. It was somewhat controversial with iOS 18, but I think I really like what they're doing now with iOS 26. Hopefully, this will translate to the official final release. Now, under FaceTime, which is in Camera app as well, there's also some updates here as well. So if you tap here, you have this new pop-up menu. You have different options from missed to videos to voice, and then you also have this new sort of card view. So if you missed a FaceTime call and someone left a video message or something like that, you can revisit that or see a preview here. Obviously, you also have the new call option right here with the new buttons here for the new liquid design, the liquid glass design available within iOS. So overall, FaceTime, Photos, and Camera, in terms of UI, I really like what Apple is doing here. So now let's talk about the new Messages application in iOS 26. Now, not every feature is working on the first beta, obviously, but slowly all these features will be rolling out. For example, Apple added the ability to change the background on a message thread. You also have the ability to host a poll if you have a question or multiple questions. You also have Apple Cache in groups, so you can split bills and things like that. You also have typing indicators in groups as well. We also have a new screen filter, which allows you to filter spam messages. And we also have auto translate, which allows you to translate any conversation within messages. So for example, I do text in 2 different languages, which is English and Spanish. Right here, you see I took a screenshot of this. And now iOS 26 is giving me the suggestion to translate from Spanish to English, as you can see right there. So let's go into the Messages application. Let me show you something else that's new here. So obviously we have the menu here. We have the option to compose a new message on the bottom of the screen right there. You also have the ability to go ahead and search within Messages, just like so. And the menus for the new glass design is all over the place. So for example, if I go into this submenu here, you see the new animations with the new icons. You also have image playground options to create different images. As you can see right there, you can go through gallery or create your very own images and things like that directly within the Messages application. Now, Apple also added a new mix emoji option. So if we go under Genmoji, you can create one emoji using 2. So for example, let's say I want to go ahead and use, I don't know, maybe this emoji right here. And let's say I want to use a robot emoji with it. So now I can make a robot emoji with the standard emoji and create one, and just like so, using Image Playground and the image generating tools within iOS directly within Messages. Again, this is called Mixmoji. As the name implies, you can mix 2 emojis and create one single emoji, which is something really cool, not available within previous versions of iOS. The keyboard looks a little bit different here as well, as you can see right here. And of course, you also have, as I mentioned, that search bar, which is also available within settings. So in settings, you also have this search bar on the bottom of the screen basically at all times. So no longer do you have to search or reach all the way to the top to search, but you have it right there at the bottom of the screen, which I really like. So let's go ahead and talk about the settings application for a little bit, because there's a lot happening here as well. Let me go ahead and change here these icons, and let's dive into the settings application, and let me show you some of the changes happening here. So inside of settings, in terms of layout compared to previous versions of iOS, the layout looks pretty much the same, but when you start going into the menus and submenus, things start to look a little bit different. Some options do look a little different, some options don't look so much different. So for example, if we go into the CarPlay options, you see we have different elements and things like that to set up CarPlay, as you can see right there. We also have a different menu here for screen captures. By the way, we have a new option for screen capture, which is visual intelligence for screen capturing, which we'll talk about here in just a couple of seconds. But I love this new option for screen capture. So you can see right there, you can go ahead and use that visual intelligence. You also have CarPlay screenshots, as you can see right here, and additional options for full screen and so forth. So we also have different options and different looks, I guess you can say, between different menus within iOS. Let's go into the battery section here. So you might remember where I talked about Apple was working on a new optimized battery feature. Well, this is it, adaptive power. Now, we did not get the battery intelligent features in the first beta. That could still be coming later down the road, where your iPhone will be able to determine how long before your iPhone is fully charged to 100. This looks to be something a little different. Adaptive power is a feature that slows down other tasks on your iPhone if you're draining the battery quicker than you normally would. So if you're doing something, for example, that you normally don't do on your iPhone, that's draining the battery quicker than you normally do, then your iPhone will throttle other processes happening in the background in order to optimize the battery performance, even lower the display brightness and things of that nature in order to optimize the battery. So for example, if you're on a FaceTime call and you're not connected to a power source, that could be draining the battery quick because you're using your cameras, the mic, the display, all this stuff running at once. And if you're not plugged in, that could drain the battery quick. So if you're on a FaceTime call for more than an hour, trust me, the battery's going to drop quickly. So this feature will optimize in that situation other things in order to provide you with longer battery life. Or if you're just capturing 4K video without being connected to a power source, or exporting video, or perhaps, I don't know, using your iPhone as a GPS without a power source, these types of tasks can drain the battery. So adaptive power can go ahead and throttle your iPhone basically in other aspects and other areas in order to provide you with better battery life. Now, hopefully we'll get battery intelligence down the future, but this one is a really cool new feature that optimizes battery for your iPhone depending on the need. So now let's jump into Safari. As I mentioned, guys, there's a lot to talk about here because basically everything has been changed here. So let's go into Safari, the browser that you probably use the most. It is the one that comes with your iPhone. Of course, that new liquid glass design once again showing up on the screen here. You see there that when I swipe, it hides all the menus and options. Obviously, you can tap to bring them back here. You have all your reading options and all the options and menus that you're used to by tapping away right here or going back or refresh. You have these three dots for additional menus and options. You have your sharing options. Take a look at those animations. They look so cool. So all your options here, obviously using the same design language here. When you tap in between menus, you see the windows, how they pop up. Obviously, you have a back tap here. You have your URL. You have your refresh, as I mentioned. And I like the fact that when you swipe, everything just disappears and it becomes full screen. Now, obviously, this has all to do with that new redesign that we're all looking at here that translate through the entire operating system. The new redesign obviously translates over to apps like the Vision OS application. Very minimal, very simple. As you see right here, you tap, you just see what you need to see, and that's it. It's just so minimal that I really like what Apple is doing by eliminating distractions basically when you swipe and you just use the applications, everything else disappears. Now, let's talk about Playground because there's new options. So we have the ability to do the animation, illustration, sketch, but we also have the Genmoji option and ChatGPT, which allows us to create images using those different services, and we have sub menus. So if you're creating images, so for example, let's say you want to choose a person. So let's go and choose a person here, and let's say you want to go ahead and share with ChatGPT. You get the question asked right there. It is sharing with ChatGPT, and you see right there that it will generate an image using ChatGPT, not just using Apple Intelligence. So you now have the option to do that as well here. You see right there, you chose that person, and it will create using ChatGPT. It could take some time depending on your network connection, and obviously this is beta software, so it could take some time. But yeah, you can now use ChatGPT in order to generate images and change images and things like that and combine different things. So pretty cool. Not only do you have ChatGPT as your service for your third-party extension here, but you also have the ability to use it with an image playground. Now, we did not get the Google Gemini Assistant extension available here within Apple Intelligence, but we could see that with future betas. Now, if you love playing games on your iPhone, iPhone, we have a brand new application called Games, and this is all about games for iOS. Right here, you have your home tab where you can discover new games. You have Arcade where you can browse new categories. Of course, you also have Play Together to invite friends and things like that. All your games list, and of course, a search tab. So if you like playing games on your iPhone, right here, you can keep track of all your scores, your achievements, discover new games. It's just a social aspect to gaming, of course, with that brand new design built in to iOS 26. Now we also have Previews, which is a new application in iOS 26 that allows you to edit any image or sign a document, edit or sign a PDF, scan any document with your iPhone and share it. You also have the ability to also share this with a group of people or browse files within your iPhone. So if you need to sign something or edit something, this is going to be a very, very good utility. So now let's talk about on-screen visual intelligence. So now when you take a screenshot on your iPhone, you have a new menu, obviously, with the same UI throughout, and you have 3 additional options at the bottom. We have Ask, we have the Highlight to Search, and we have Image Search. So you see here that if I tap on Image Search, it will give me options based on Google search and images based on the screenshot itself. Now I can ask a question as well about the screenshot or anything on the screen, or I can highlight, for example, this image playground icon, and you see there that it will populate results in Google search based on what I highlighted. So if you see something, for example, on social media, you can screenshot that and it will do a Google search based on what you just highlighted. So super clean, super nice new UI here for screenshots. And of course, you have the new menus with that new visual intelligence on screen, which I really love. Now, last but not least, I want to talk about the phone application. There's some really nice updates happening this year. We have a unified layout. We have call screening to avoid scam calls. We have hold assist to help you when you're on hold. And Apple is promising automatic translation in phone calls. So basically, live translation is set to be coming to iOS in the phone application. Now, of course, we have the new UI. We have your favorites. You have your recent calls here. You have the new menus and UI throughout, as you can see right here. Obviously, the same liquid design, the same liquid glass design. Whether you love it or hate it, let me know what you think about it in those comments down below. I like what I'm seeing. Obviously, this is only beta 1, and it should be getting better with time, and it should be looking better within time. But I think Apple is in the right track here with iOS 26. Let me know what you think about the software so far, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.